Jim Longworth, and welcome to another edition of Triad Today. Coming up later on the program, our infamous roundtable gets together. We'll see what kind of trouble they get into with controversial topics. But between now and then, some great guests and important information coming your way. We'll talk about a partnership that's going to benefit students. We'll also tell you about a big event called Celebration of Speed, and we'll see what's coming up at the High Point Theater, all that and much more. But first, we start talking about empowering girls, and I just so happen to have three very, very empowered girls with me right now. On my immediate right, my good friend Sharon Joyner Payne. She's Executive Vice President, Corporate Communications and Great Teams at Inmar, and she has rounded up these two beautiful women who have been sort of under your tutelage and the other folks at Inmar in these Empowering Girls Day. We're going to talk about that. Next to Sharon is Addison Smith. She's a rising junior at West Forsyth High School, and Mary Louise Reniger is a rising senior at West Forsyth High School. Welcome, everybody.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Sharon, I'm going to start with you. Now, your team at Inmar recently hosted the third annual Empowering Girls Day. What was that all about, and why is it you invest in that every year?
You know, Inmar, really, it's important to us to develop great talent, especially in the areas of STEM, the science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And we also love building great teams that are diverse, not just in gender, but also in thought. And we love data. And what the data told us is that in the 6th to 8th grade, those middle school years, that girls start to lose an interest in STEM. And that they also start to have a drop in their confidence.
Yeah, they lost an interest in me at that age, too. But you're talking about STEM right now.
I am.
Yeah.
And so there was one survey of about 1,300 girls that said that their confidence actually dropped by as much as 30%, which is a huge confidence gap.
Wow.
So that was really our inspiration for the Empowering Girls Day, to be able to bring these girls in for a full day where we focused on topics to help them build confidence, anything from networking to presentation skills, career building, and teamwork. And we also paired them with a mentor, and they got to shadow them for a couple of hours during the day. And two of these here with me were actually shadowed me, and they got to actually go into a meeting and watch an actual meeting with David Mounts,
the chairman, CEO.
Yes.
Yeah. So it wasn't a pretend thing.
It was a real meeting, and they had the opportunity to watch one of our female vice presidents present and lead the meeting with confidence.
Wow, what a great role model. You're a great role model, and I think having that meeting was too. Addison.
Yes.
Let me start with you over here. I understand that you and Mary Louise teamed up this year on some kind of a presentation that I was sent an email about this and said, just say something about this unique presentation. What was that all about?
That's right, Jim. So we did a presentation. We actually did the keynote presentation. And, you know, last year, Mary Louise and I were at Empowering Girls Day. We've come to all of them, actually, so this is the third one. We actually met at the very first one in 2017. And last
and you're still speaking.
We're still here. Last year, we were brainstorming about how we could make an impact and sort of, you know, bring our voice to the table for Empowering Girls Day because it means so much to us. And we came up with the idea to do a presentation about what would the world be without women. So we ended up focusing on 5 women in history whose impacts have sort of seeped through the cracks, and we sort of told their story, and we wanted the girls to not only give credit to them, but also give credit to themselves and other women in their everyday lives.
Very inspirational. Mary Louise, very quickly, why was it important to you to participate in the Girls Empowerment Day?
I think I can speak for both of us in saying that a lot of it was about giving back to the community and giving back to the program because, like she said, we both felt so good after our first time in 2017 when we went.
Tell me something, Addison, and I'll ask Mary Louise the same question very quickly. What kind of plans do you have after high school?
Well, I would like to go to college. Not really sure what I want to study yet, but...
You haven't got the whole career picked out yet. Mary Louise?
I want to go to film school to be a first assistant director.
You want to be a first assistant director?
I do.
Wow, she might take over this show before we get there. Sharon, this is just great that you got, and of course I just think it's great what you and your team did with the mentors, and it's really making a difference, isn't it?
Yes,
Yeah,
we think so.
Just congratulate you. Up on screen, I want to put this to get a good plug in for Inmar. Inmar.com is the website, and I hope you will go there and check out all the great things Inmar does. And as we mentioned, David Mounts, just a great community servant and a great leader. And he has this great vision about empowering girls and also helping all sorts of students with internships and everything. So a good salute to David. Thank you, Sharon. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you for having us.
We'll be right back after this. Back now on Triad Today, and I mentioned at the head of the show we were going to talk about a partnership that's benefiting students. Let's get right to that. Two very special guests with me. One who's a first-time visitor to the show, and the other who's a veteran of Triad Today. Next to me on my immediate right, Laura Lorenz is a campaign manager, among many other things. She wears many hats for Action Greensboro. Next to her is our good buddy, Corey Phillips, Manager of Marketing and Communications at Crumley Roberts, Attorneys at Law. Welcome. Thanks for coming here.
Thanks for having us.
Corey, let me start with you, and then I'm going to come back to Laura. But Corey, why this collaboration, and what is the collaboration between, you have Crumley Roberts, you have the Roberts Center that does all these great leadership things, and Action Greensboro? I mean, how did that all come about?
Sure. Well, in short, many hands make light work. One of the things that we first did as Crumley Roberts for community outreach was putting bicycle helmets on kids. So when Action Greensboro approached us about being a part of their Wheels on the Greenway program and being able to engage that many families and have a lot of fun in doing it, it was a pretty easy yes.
Right. Laura, for anybody that doesn't know, and of course you can go to various websites we'll give in just a little bit, but just in a few words, what is Action Greensboro?
So Action Greensboro is a nonprofit. We are an economic development booster for Greensboro, and one of the parts that I primarily work with is the Downtown Greenway. So the Downtown Greenway is a 4-mile loop that goes around downtown, and probably half of it is either completed or under construction right now, and we anticipate by this time next year at least 3/4 of the 4-mile loop will be done.
Wow.
So it's a very great way to get out and exercise in Greensboro. So we have lots of runners and walkers, and we said we need to get the biking community out, and that's hence the partnership with Crumley Roberts and Bike Safety.
Our buddy Lee Kirkman from over at Crumley Roberts sent me an email one day, and he alluded to, and correct me if I'm wrong now, alluded to a big event that's coming up. It's sort of going to be a good surprise for some students at a very special academy. Tell me about that.
So Hope Academy is a great school that is in the Glenwood neighborhood that has about 60 students, and we at Action Greensboro in the Downtown Greenway had not partnered with them before. I know Crumley Roberts has done a lot with them, and so we have done a bike donation in conjunction with our Wheels on the Greenway event.
Okay.
And so we've donated to kids at Warnersville Rec Center, to Jones Elementary, and because of the close proximity, we thought this would be a great school to try to partner with, because the kids are so deserving and don't always get some of the things that maybe other students might get in our community. And so that's why we came up with this idea of trying to give them a bike so that they can get around their neighborhood, get to school, and have a way of some alternate transportation, and to be healthy and fit.
Sure, I just think that's great. Corey, this obviously fits in this kind of collaboration that you have with Laura and her group, and what you're doing with the kids and the bikes. It all sort of gels and fits in with your mission, right?
That's exactly right. It's been funny because this was almost the event that never happened. When we look back at this past year's Wheels on the Greenway event, we thought we'd be smart and set 2 dates just in case it rained, and it basically threatened to rain both days. So we were a little disappointed about that, but we had rallied the community and they answered in spades by donating bicycles. And we thought, wouldn't it be wonderful, like Laura just shared, to donate these to students in need so that we can have an impact. And we went back to our bicycle collection and realized that somebody had other plans and had taken quite a few of those bicycles. And so once again, partnering with the right people, Action Greensboro got the word out, and once again, the community answered.
Isn't that something? And the kids get to keep the bikes, is that right?
That's exactly right.
Wow.
So we'll have a big event.
And you're going to help them with the safety stuff too, because you do the helmet stuff anyway.
Exactly.
Right?
That will be a big component. We're partnering with the city of Greensboro. Greensboro PD, rather, is going to be a part of that. We're going to make sure that they're safe, that they are aware, and that they have a helmet, because helmets save lives.
All right, before we run out of time, a couple things I want to do here. Put up on screen, greensboro.org/action-greensboro is the website that can get you there. Also, www.hopegso.org will get you information about Hope Academy. CrumleyRoberts.com, of course, gives you all sorts of information about how they stand up for a lot of their folks and for their clients, but also the Red Effect Boutique, the redeffect.com you can go to. Kimberly Roberts owns that and runs it, and a lot of those proceeds go to various kinds of scholarships. I just commend both of you for what you're doing and for helping the kids. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for sharing it.
We'll be right back after this. I'm trying today. I'm looking at my passport. It's not my personal passport. I can't go to the airport with this. It's the High Point Theater passport, and it's a great one. They just came out. We'll tell you how you can get it in just a second. I'll tell you how you can meet this guy right now. Next to me, our good buddy Dave Briggs, director of the High Point Theater. Welcome back, sir.
Thank you, Jim.
Before we talk about the theater and the upcoming performance, I have a couple things I want to ask you about. I read in an email somewhere, or a news story, that the theater has figured out, you do a study or something, you know what kind of economic impact you have on the city. Tell me about that.
We do. We work through the Convention and Visitors Bureau there in High Point. They do a great job basically we send them the numbers for the amount of attendance we've had, number of tickets we've sold, how much concessions we've sold, and et cetera, and how many hotel rooms we anticipate or expect to have. And then they put it into a formula that's basically a formula that the North Carolina Department of Travel and Tourism has, and then they produce a number that is pretty accurate to what we expect, what we think people spend when they come into a city.
Right.
This past year, for instance, the economic impact for High Point Theater was right at $8.5 million.
Good gosh.
So for city leaders, our budget's about $1.3 million, and our return at $8.5 million means it's a 7-to-1
Man,
plus
if
for
every
us.
government agency or group could do something like that, we'd be in Fat City. Dave, that's just great. Congratulations.
Yeah,
Now,
really good year.
Since I mentioned the brochure, very, very quickly, I know we'll put up the website stuff later, but can you just walk into the theater and get this? Or
That's
what?
the best way to do it. Just walk into the theater. We have these at our box office. We have some in the lobby as well.
Okay.
If you want us to mail one, we can do that too, but just call the box office. They'll take your name and number. We'll put a stamp on it and get it in the mail to you.
All right, let's go over a couple quick things. Some of these are things that you book and sponsor and whatever. Others are community type things. One is Triad Has Talent, quickly.
Triad Has Talent is actually a fundraiser for our friends, our volunteer group, the Friends of the High Point Theater. Auditions will be in November this year with the actual performance on February 1st, 2020.
Okay.
It's a lot of fun. About 50 or so acts.
And the community theater that you help support has a couple things. I think the Christmas Carol early on, and then early on next year, Cabaret or something. What all's going on with that?
Yeah, they're opening their season with Mamma Mia, which I think will be a huge hit.
Right.
They took on the mantle of Christmas Carol. This is the Disney version of Christmas Carol.
Okay.
So it's a musical. And then you mentioned the
I
other.
think it was the Cabaret. Coming up
Cabaret,
in
they're
February.
doing Cabaret, and then they've got.
But Mamma Mia is first,
Mamma
right?
Mia is first.
All
And
right,
they've
let's
got
go
another
to
one
the,
later on.
now I don't even know how to pronounce this. It's the BANFF Film Festival. What is that?
The Banff International Film Festival. Now, this is a huge festival that takes place in Banff, Canada. And every year they have these amazing submissions of independent films. They get judged and juried, they get shown at Banff, and then they tour around the country to specific locations. We've been fortunate enough to host Banff International Film Festival now for the last 12 years, and they're coming back again. It's always great. I mean, it's hang on to your hat movie experience. A lot of really exciting stuff.
It does sound good.
Some great
All right, I want to run
environmental
down
things.
4 or 5 quick jazz programs, and you just give a quick comment. I think it's November 23rd. Lee Ritenour.
Lee Ritenour will be with us. Amazing jazz guitarist. Hasn't changed a lick in the last 30 years. And really looking forward to having Lee with us.
Now, coming up in early February, Barbara Leica.
Barbara Leica.
Leica.
Barbara is actually an artist that I found in Canada. She has been nominated for.
You've been staying up in Canada
I've been
a lot?
to Canada.
Yeah.
She was nominated for Juno Awards. She won the Sarah Vaughan Award.
Wow.
She's got this amazing voice. She's a singer-songwriter, kind of sassy, kind of brassy, and just some really great music. She'll be
My
there with
wife
her
describes me
quartet.
sassy
That's
and
you.
brassy.
That's
All
you.
right, February 21st, and we're telling these because you really want to start getting your season tickets for these. The Brubeck Brothers.
Yeah, the Brubeck Brothers. One interesting tidbit about the High Point Theater. In 1975, the theater opened with Dave Brubeck. These are 2 of his sons and 2 other guys, the Brubeck Brothers Quartet. Going to be a lot of fun.
Something else to look forward to on March 12th coming up in this new season, a real tribute to Ray
Charles.
Ray Charles.
Yeah, it's called Georgia on My Mind. Features Nina Freelon, Kirk Whalum, Clint Holmes, and Take 6.
Wow.
And we're going to have a local choir behind them. I'm really excited about this show. I get goosebumps when I talk about it. I was fortunate enough to actually get to present Ray Charles back in the day, and his music is so great. And these folks, I mean, you're talking, I think there are 12 Grammys amongst the groups that are in that. Just wonderful stuff.
I didn't know that you had worked with Ray Charles. Okay, and very quickly, Jive Ace is April 4th. We've got that up on screen, but we got to go to the website, highpointtheater.com. I don't want to miss the number here. 887-3001 is the box office. Please do that. Please get your passport. Please get the season tickets and all that good stuff. Dave Briggs, thanks.
Thank you, Jim.
We'll be right back after this. Triad Today. So glad we have these 2 wonderful people with us to talk about something called Celebration of Speed. We're going to find out what that means in just a second. Next to me, our good friend Shannon Newman, Executive Director of the Petty Family Foundation, as in Richard Petty Family Foundation. Next to her, a man who just came from the eye doctor recently, and he says his eyes are all dilated. Isn't that right?
That's right.
You said everything looks brighter.
It's a bright world out there today.
Yeah. Well, good. Just look at me because I'm really bright. Russ Stelfox is an event coordinator for the Celebration of Speed. Welcome, guys. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Shannon, let me start with you. We all know who the king, Richard Petty, is, but before we talk about the big event coming up, remind everybody what the mission of the Petty Family Foundation is and who you help.
So the Petty Family Foundation was started in 2008 as a way for the Petty family to continue to give back into their community. As we all know, they're very passionate about where they live, the state of North Carolina, and the overall community. So the Petty Family Foundation was started, and the main focus is helping organizations that work with children or veterans. So we do a lot of work with athletic organizations in the community, veterans organizations.
Veterans and families of veterans and all that.
Exactly.
It's just great. Russ, now tell me about this thing, the Celebration of Speed. This is not the first year for it, but what is it? What's the purpose?
The Celebration of Speed, this is our third year for it actually, and it's just a gathering of performance cars from all over the world, Ferraris, Porsches, muscle cars, antique cars, classic cars, and vintage motorcycles. And we just get together at one spot, and all these cars from around the area, across into several states come into them, and we just get together at one spot and have a great time talking cars and talking about and sharing experiences and appreciating the differences within the cars. You have a lot of guys who love muscle cars and a lot of guys who love exotics, and this is a chance to get them together.
Yeah, in just a second, I'll put up some things on the screen about when it is, because the car show is September 14th. We'll tell you that in just a second. But now, can just anybody come in and say, hey, I want to show off my car, or is it just certain people can show cars?
No, it's really open to anyone, and we have a special opportunity here for the first 100 people who sign up online. They actually get to, for $25, they get to come into the car show and show their car, and they also get a chance to drive the racetrack at Virginia International Raceway on Sunday.
Wow, man, that'll make a great two-day event. All right, before I come back to Shannon, I want to just, since we're talking about this, I want to go on screen and put up a couple things about Celebration of Speed, what Russ was talking about. Saturday, September 14th is the car show. That's from 9 a.m. until 2 p.m., and that'll be at the Richard Petty Museum, right?
Yes,
in
that's
Ramblin'.
correct.
And then Sunday, if you get to do this, which I think is great, Sunday, September 15th, are what they call the pace laps that you can do at Virginia International Speedway. That's from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. in Alton, Virginia. So, I mean, a great two-day event. Shannon, coming back to you, I know there are a lot of other activities and things that you guys are involved in. How can we get more information on all the different things that you're promoting?
So the best way to get information is just to go to our website, which is www.pettyfamilyfoundation.org. That has a listing of all of our events. You can always follow our Facebook page, as well as the Petty's Garage and Petty Museum Facebook pages as well. We list a lot of events throughout that. We have a unique event coming up on October the 26th.
What is that?
The North Carolina Moonshine Runs.
The Moonshine Run.
Yeah. So this is the second year, and we're partnering with some area and local distilleries, and we'll be doing a drive through the country. You can drive your muscle car, you can drive your family van, and we're going to end up at Richard's house with a party and a celebration and raising money for the foundation.
Isn't that great? And that's the date on that again is when?
October the 26th.
Wow. Now, can people, should I also give out your email address? People can email you.
Absolutely.
That's Shannon at pettyfamilyfoundation.org. So either one of those, pettyfamilyfoundation.org is the website. And let's just make sure everybody understands, when we talk about all these things, whether Russ was talking about the Celebration of Speed, you're talking about the Moonshine Run, I know you guys do golf tournaments and all sorts of things. When the foundation's involved, where do the proceeds go?
So, as I said earlier, the money is going to go back into organizations with the community. So, for example, we work with an organization called Operation North State, and they do a fishing tournament for veterans in the spring. We also work very closely with the Ricky Prohl Power of Play Foundation.
Right.
So we just work very closely with a lot of different organizations, everything from hospice to muscular dystrophy.
So like if I come out and want to register a car and show it, then that part of that fee is going to go to help the foundation. I just think it's great, Shannon, what you're doing.
you.
And Russ, good luck with everything.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
All right. We'll be right back after this. All right, today, before we get to the roundtable, one sad note to report. A friend of ours had been on Triad Today many times. Arnold King passed away. He passed away a few days ago, and he was, of course, the longest-serving member of the Winston-Salem-Forsyth County Planning Board and chairman of many, many other boards. He just did so much for the community. Our thoughts and prayers go out to his wife, Kimberly. Arnold was 74. Also, just want to mention, pick up your copy of Yes Weekly if you dare. This is, I've got a column in there every week, so I hope you'll like that. Now, let's get to three guys I know you will like. On my immediate right, but always on the left, Ogie Overman, the great broadcaster and journalist. Next to him is Dr. Don Martin, professor at High Point University, also vice chair of the Forsyth County Commissioners, and we have held over the illustrious Dave Briggs, Director of High Point Theater, to help fill in for Keith Cranberry today. And welcome back to the show, Dave.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, let's get with this first topic. I guess Winston-Salem City Council listened to our roundtable and decided not to hire a consultant to come up with a new name for the Dixie Classic Fair, because now they're going to vote this coming Monday in a couple days whether they're going to change the name or not. Now, if they vote to change the name, then city staffers, not a consultant, will try to come up with a new name with some input. Once and for all, guys, should City Council vote to change the name of the fair, and if so, what should it be called? Ogie.
Yeah, you know, the simple fix is to just leave the Classic and call it the Carolina Classic.
I agree with that.
What's the big deal?
Don Martin.
I'm probably not, it doesn't bother me at all to remain Dixie Classic.
Doesn't bother you. Dave Briggs.
I'm with Don as well. And if they do want to name it the Forsyth County Fair.
Okay. Changing gears a little bit, back in 2015, then Senator Trudy Wade, who was later defeated, sponsored an idiotic bill that would have changed the way Greensboro City Council is structured. Now, City Council people, and I'm not saying this, City Council people said it was vengeful and there were some personality things. Anyway, the city and some citizens sued and won in court, so they didn't have to mess with the City Council structure. But now a federal judge is going to make Guilford County pay $600,000 to cover the legal fees of City Council and those plaintiffs. Guys, should Guilford County challenge the state immunity laws and try to make Trudy Wade personally responsible for those fees, Ogie?
Well, as much as I would like to say yes, that's a slippery slope, Jim. I mean, I don't think they'd win anyway. It costs as much to the $600,000. Half of that would be gone in legal fees, but that's a slippery slope. You can't do that.
Yeah, I think the appeal against governmental immunity is probably going to be unsuccessful. I think the question is that assignment of fees, could just that decision of the assignment of fees be appealed?
Interesting.
That's interesting, Don. I think, frankly, it would cost them more to try to go after that to get those recouped.
In wake of the growing number of mass shootings at schools and other places, several companies are now selling bulletproof backpacks. The backpacks can cost up to $160 each. Guys, is this something that parents and schools should invest in? Oh, Gilverman.
Why don't we invest in electing some legislators who will enact sensible gun legislation?
Instead of the backpack thing, yeah.
Why not do that?
Yeah, interesting. Okay, Don.
It's a sad day that we have bulletproof backpacks available, or plates and things you can put in it. And I just think it's one of those things, parents are going to make their choice. And
so do you think the school would have a rule, if you were still superintendent of the school system as you were, would you order X number of bulletproof backpacks? Or?
Would not have ordered X number, had been a parent choice.
Okay, Dave.
Yeah, I believe that's a parent choice, and I'm with Ogie. I think it's a terrible thing that we even have to think about children having to have a bulletproof backpack.
Right. Over the past few years, mass shooters have said they've targeted Hispanics, they've targeted blacks, they've targeted other non-whites and groups. Yet last week, Fox News host Tucker Carlson said that the concept of white supremacy is a hoax, quote, a hoax. What's your reaction to that statement, Ogie?
Well, I'm not surprised, given Tucker Carlson's reputation as a toady, a complete trump-ludite, lemming, sycophant, acolyte toady.
Because white supremacy is real. It's Don, what do you think?
Yeah, I do not think it's a hoax. I think everything is a question of how big is it? I mean, what is the size and magnitude and its power? We hear about the exceptions on a regular basis of folks. The question is how big a group is it?
Hey, Briggs.
Yeah, I think it was probably a very poor choice of words by Carlson. But, you know, one of the things that we haven't even begun to address is the effect of psychotropic drugs on the people who have been these mass shooters.
Right.
90% of the folks who've committed these crimes have been on psychotropic drugs.
Right. They're not mentally ill. They're just taking stuff. And yeah, good point. Also, in order to reduce the number of immigrants coming here from Central America, now, Trump has had like 3 different proposals in the last 2 weeks. And I don't want to get off on criticizing the latest 2, but the first one almost made a little sense. He's saying, if you're coming from the Central American countries, you got a common language with Mexico. You don't have to go as far. The mules who do these slave trades aren't going to make money off of people if you just stop in Mexico and seek asylum. Ogie, what do you think?
No, that didn't come close to making any sense, Jim. Trump had an idea that made sense.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think why come the extra distance?
Because Mexico's about as bad as Venezuela and Guatemala and Ecuador. That's
So you don't
not
think it makes any
solving
sense?
no.
All right, Don.
Well, are you going to apply the same logic to every other country? If someone wants to immigrate, we're going to go through a succession. Well, why don't you just go to the next country over,
Right.
and then the next country
So
over.
you're with Ogie then, Dave.
Yeah.
I thought there was some international law that stated that the first country that you come to, you have to apply for
Stop
an
and
amnesty,
apply.
which is where you
Well,
apply.
we'll see. All right. Finally, on a lighter note, Carolina Beach officials have just released a report titled Local Buttocks Comparison, which will be used during debates to decide if women should be allowed to wear thongs on the beach. Guys, do you have a problem with women wearing thongs on the beach? Ogie.
Well, you know the answer to that, Jim. Anybody wearing a Marilyn Monroe tie probably
Yeah.
doesn't have a problem.
That's right. Don Martin, do you have a problem?
I've never had a problem with that.
You never had a problem.
No, I
Dave
haven't
Briggs,
had
do you have a problem with women wearing thongs?
There are some that surely should not wear thongs.
Gosh, Dave, you're judgmental.
I am indeed.
All right, guys, I appreciate that. That's all the time we have, except for this. Scientists in New Zealand have just confirmed the existence of a prehistoric parrot that was over 3 feet tall, weighed nearly 20 pounds, and ate meat. The giant talking parrots were known to say, "Polly want a human?" See, in other words, they're so big, they would...
We got it, Jim.
It's the last show for these guys. All right, for all of us here, I'm Jim Longworth. We'll see you next week.